Alright guys, we are back in my garage for another video, and today we are going to be talking about car insurance. And this is one of the things that's a really popular topic. You know, people always ask, how much do you guys pay for car insurance on the different forums and stuff, because they want to make sure that they're not overpaying for things. And keep in mind, this is something that I try to really capitalize on because I do have 4 cars. I have a 2018 BMW 440i, a 2016 340i, a 2014 Volkswagen CC, that's my wife's car, and then a 2010 X5, that's kind of like our family hauler and winter driver. Now, with all 4 of these cars, I just got my car insurance renewal, and unfortunately, it went up to $1,144 every 6 months. So that adds up to around $190 a month or so, which is around like $45 to $50 per car. So overall, I think that I do pretty well on making sure that my car insurance stays as low as possible. And I just want to explain to you guys some of the tips and tricks and things that I use to make sure I'm not overpaying for my car insurance. So we'll talk about it in this video, and hopefully you guys find it useful. Now, as always, for everybody that's new to the channel, I create these videos to help keep you updated on the latest developments in our community, as well as discuss technical topics so that we have a better understanding of how our engines work. So if you're interested in more videos like that, be sure to subscribe because there will be a lot more coming out in the future. Now, the first thing that I want to remind you guys is it is not realistic just to send a post out into the world asking people what they pay for car insurance. Prices vary drastically based on your personal profile, and there are a lot of things that you can't control. You'll see different rates based on age, gender, marital status, education, where you live. I mean, there was a point in time where I lived in a city and I was working a job, and when I got a new job on the other side of town, I moved to the other county and my insurance went up $100. When I got another new job and moved back to where I was before, my insurance went down $100. And it's literally to that level of detail. They're looking exactly where you are, how you drive, looking at, of course, your driving record and things like that. And all of that affects your rates. So you can't just ask people in general how much they pay and assume that it should be comparable, because a lot of those details will affect what your insurance rate will be. Now, with that in mind, I am pretty covered in that aspect. I live in Ohio. I don't necessarily live in a high-risk area. I'm 35 years old. I'm married with 2 kids. So a lot of that stuff is on my side to help with my car insurance. But even when I was younger and had, multiple points on my record and stuff like that, I was still able to keep my price down for a couple different reasons. Now, the biggest thing that I attribute to getting low car insurance is I always use a high deductible insurance plan. And the reason behind that is simple. I don't think insurance in itself is a scam. The idea of it is just that you are paying a small premium so that if you ever see a big bill, it can compensate for it. Now, I know insurance companies and everything else has been evolving into its own kind of monster, but just the idea of having insurance to protect you as a customer, I think is one of those necessary evils. You don't want to have to buy somebody a $20,000 car out of nowhere just because you made a mistake. But on the other hand, you still need to consider that it is a necessary evil in that it's not going to make financial sense for you. In the long run, if it makes financial sense for you, it doesn't make financial sense for the insurance company. So for them to make money, on average, for the average car owner, they need to charge you more than what they will actually pay out for insurance claims throughout your ownership. So it's something that you're doing to take the risk off of you, but you're still probably going to be overpaying in the grand scheme of things. So with that in mind, I always go with the high deductible plan. If it's $1,000, $2,000, whatever it is, I just make sure I put that money in my savings account and save it for a rainy day. But I don't want to pay more for insurance up front, knowing that 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to get my money back out of that scenario. Now, I know some of you guys just have really bad luck. Maybe you live in really crappy areas. More power to you if you know that you're going to be, paying out a deductible every couple months. Then it probably doesn't make sense to go this route. But for me, thankfully, I can use some defensive driving techniques and I don't really have many issues. I've only been in 1 accident. So thankfully, that hasn't been something that put a significant strain on my insurance premiums. But I know generally it's not something that I'm going to have to worry about. And if the worst were to happen, then I have the money saved up to pay my deductible and get my car fixed. Now, I know when I originally talked about this, I got a little bit of negative feedback. Some people were saying I'm acting broke, I'm, not able to afford my cars. These are things that poor people do. And that might all be true, but it's working really good for me. And I don't want to pay more for something that I don't need or don't use, which for the past several years has been exactly the case. So that's why I kind of feel like this idea behind paying the insurance companies as little as possible, because it's not going to make you more money or put you in a better position if you pay them more, is really one of the best decisions I feel like I've made for my financial situation. And it's something that I've sustained for several years. I've saved that money multiple times over at this point. So think about it that way. It's just kind of the way that I try to strategize things, and it saves me a lot of money, and you can use that money that you save for other things, or even just put it again in your rainy day fund. Now, the other thing is I pay for my insurance every 6 months instead of every month. Most companies will give you a discount if you pay every 6 months. Some people even let you pay for a year ahead of time, and they give you a discount for paying everything up front because that reduces their risk, and they know that they're covered for the entire duration of your premium period. Now, this saves me a lot of money because I'm able to save up my money to pay for it in total every 6 months. That's definitely something that I recommend you try to do. If you're able to save up money, get to a point where you can pay it all in advance. And I've also heard some people say, well, they don't want to pay it early because what if their car gets totaled, or what if they sell it or something? Now they've paid 6 months for a car that they might only have for 3 months during that policy period. Well, if you cancel your insurance, they give you a refund for the period that you didn't have the car or you weren't being covered. I've even done this when I change insurance companies. So if I'm paying $1,000 for my cars and I get another quote and it's $800, I can cancel that policy wherever I am and switch to the new company to get a cheaper rate. And the old company will give me a refund for the 2 months, 3 months, whatever I had left that I can put towards my new insurance premium. So that's not something that I would worry about. I definitely think it's a win-win. If you're going to be paying for it, you might as well, again, try to save as much money as possible, because the more money you spend, the more money you're going to end up wasting in the long run. The other thing I do is switch companies every 6 months to a year. And the reason why I do this is because when it's up for renewal, my insurance rates always go up. This is one of the few times where I wasn't able to find another company that could give me a discount and get it back closer to what I was paying before. But typically they go up about $100. That's what I've always experienced. And if you get quotes from other companies, they tend to give you lower quotes so that it can entice you to switch over. But I've heard a lot of people say, oh, they've been with the same insurance company for 10 years or whatever, so they feel like that's what's locking them in to get a good rate, and they don't get quotes from anywhere else. And that's absolutely been completely the opposite of my experience. If I'm staying with a company for more than a year, I can pretty much guarantee that somebody else will give me a lower rate and I can switch over to them. There are a lot of really high quality companies with good customer service that I would trust. I've had Progressive, Geico, Liberty Mutual, State Farm. I mean, they all work great. They all pretty much have the same recipe. They have an app, they have a website, they give you digital cards or paper cards if you ask for it. And like I said, the general idea is you don't want to have to interact with them. You don't want to have to call them or deal with them for an insurance claim, if at all possible. So yeah, that's kind of the idea I go with. I work with one of those well-known companies and I get renewal quotes every 6 months just to see if anybody can cut me a deal. Also, of course, another big one is don't use insurance for cheap repairs. So as I'm already paying a high deductible, I'm paying $1,000 or $2,000, it doesn't make sense to call my insurance company if it's going to be less than my deductible. I might as well just go get the car fixed. The other thing is, even if it's a little bit more than that, $3,000 or $4,000, does it really make sense when they're going to increase your premium and you're going to probably pay back that extra $1,000 or $2,000 over the next couple years? It doesn't. So that's where I'll pay the extra to just cover it cash, and then I'll avoid dealing with my insurance so that way I can keep my record clean. There won't be any reason for them to increase my policy. And when I get other quotes from other companies, they won't see those additional, ticks in my car history that would cause them to quote me higher as well. So that's something that I just try to do, especially if you have a cheaper beater. You know, a lot of us drive cars that are barely going to be covered by that premium, or if you hit your deductible, it'll probably total out the car. So it doesn't really make sense to report issues in that case either. If it's something cosmetic that you can deal with it. If it's not, sell it, donate it, trade it in, you know, whatever you need to do to get rid of it. But I would avoid at all costs reporting it to insurance, because that's just going to cause your rates to go up. Now, one last thing is, of course, I get a nice advantage from combining cars on my plan. So every car that you add onto the plan, they give you maybe a 10 or 20% discount. So when you put them all together, it's a lot cheaper than it would be for 4 people each individually getting insurance quotes and then adding that cost all together. So I do combine all the cars, and also because I have multiple cars, I don't drive them that much. I don't have any car that's getting like 10,000 plus miles per year. All of them are actually under 5,000 miles. I have certain ones that I've categorized and set up for just for fun. It's not something that I drive every day for work. It's a car that I mostly drive on weekends and in good weather. So by using that, I'm also able to optimize the premium for specific cars on my plan. Now, I never cancel premiums. That's something that I always keep on my cars. I know some people say, oh, if I'm not driving it in winter, then I'm going to cancel the policy in winter. But I've also seen some mixed feedback from how people can handle issues. For example, if a car gets stolen, or if there were like a fire or something in my house that damaged my car, and they're trying to decide, does it go to your home insurance or your car insurance and things like that. I just want to make sure I'm covered no matter what. So I keep insurance on my cars year round, but by putting in the details of exactly how I use the cars and knowing that with multiple cars, I don't drive any one of them, you know, a crazy amount, that helps me also get a lower premium as well. But yeah, those are just some of the things that I've used over the years to help keep my premiums as low as possible. Feel free to let me know if you have any other tips or tricks that you use to help keep your car insurance low. Of course, driving safely, not getting in accidents, not getting tickets and stuff is probably the easiest thing that you can do. But even above and beyond that, when you put in the details for your quote, you can make sure that it's optimized so you're paying the least amount possible. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this video. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope this helps. And if you have any other questions or comments, leave them down below. Every 6 months. So that ups to around, so that's